Casa Reflejos, que lo que? Welcome to No Chemtrails, natural cielo streaming through.
What's going on, y'all? ¿Qué lo que con ustedes? Dime a ver. Dame la luz.
Yeah, we just wanted to build with y'all tonight before we take it down, you know. Reflect some light.
Really quick, though, you know what I'm saying? What you about to witness is just our thoughts. You know what I mean? Right or wrong. Just what we was feeling at the time, basically. So we just basically capturing this moment to hopefully help anyone out. You know, because that is what we have dedicated our life to help you. Because we are you. We come from where you come from. We've been through what you're going through. We've been through what you're gonna go through. And
there's a lot of people going through what we went through, so I can like resonate with those people, and they can relate to me because they ask me, they see where I am now and they are just starting, and I was there too, you know. So I just have some questions for you so that maybe you can help somebody if you share how you started, so you can share your journey.
Right.
Because a lot of people have been in my DMs about like my
Excuse me, a lot of people been what?
Well, asking me, you know, students have been coming to me about like asking me questions, and
right.
I answer them, but I want us to help through this podcast. So right. I just want to start off by asking you, like, if I never met you and I was like, who are you? What would you tell me? Like, who are you? What's your name? You know, what would you tell me to introduce yourself authentically?
Right, like that's deep though. You know, it sounds like a surface question, but it goes deep. Because who I am is...
It's not just a name.
Right. Who I am is forever changing. Who I am is not who I once was. Who I am is not who I was yesterday.
Because you're always becoming. So you're not the same person you was yesterday. You're always growing, babe.
Like the sun is happening. Like, it's not just there. This is a program running. So who I was yesterday is not who I am today. And yeah, like you said, I'm becoming, meaning that I am forever shedding an old ego and adopting a new one, meaning I let go of old thought paradigms and old traditions and adopt new ones, because the world is constantly changing. So we have to kind of adapt to the ways of the world. Although we're not of the world, we are still in the world, and it is not a perfect world. So who I am is deep. It's like I'm just energy. I'm God. I'm GOOD. I'm good. I'm condensed, focused consciousness being streamed through this avatar, through this apparatus that presumably seems to be this human being. But what I am is infinite. What I am is the universe in human form. What I am is a piece of the sun. But my name is natural.
We're all the universe in human form, but we're broken up into many pieces. If you think of a sheet of glass and you break it and all those millions of pieces, isn't it still glass?
Exactly.
So we're all God,
right,
broken up into many pieces. So that's a very healthy perspective. I love how you explain that, because right, I think that's very important for people to have that perspective that you just projected.
Right. It's like we can't be anything other than what we are. Just because I'm not the whole sheet of glass doesn't make me any different from that sheet of glass, other than in size, other than in function.
Facts.
I'm God in this limited human form.
And people
However,
need to understand.
Still God.
People need to understand that they're not just that there's no one who's gonna crack the sky and save them. Like, right, you are God. That's you. You, like, if you wish to see a change in the world, you must be the change. That's the only thing you could do, is you must be the change. You must change yourself, and the universe, that will set a frequency out to the universe, right, and it'll change humanity. It will, because you
right,
are not just one drop in the ocean. You're the whole ocean as a drop. So
right,
people must not see themselves. I feel like people think they're not significant enough to make a difference, but each individual has the power to make a difference with themselves. They have to make a difference, because you can take a horse to the water, but you can't shove the horse's face in the water and make them drink. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So it must be you that changes yourself and helps other people change, which is what I'm doing, but I'm not forcing anyone, you feel me? Because if it's
Right.
not in you, it's not in you, but it is in me. So that's why I've dedicated this to my life, because I feel like this is truly my purpose, and it's in my heart, and it wasn't in my heart to do these other things that I was supposed to do in the system, like supposedly go to college and work for another man. Like I'm a life path 1, so I can't even deal with that shit. Like I can't even deal with that stuff because I'm my own manager, so I can't be managed by someone else, you know, so that the whole thing didn't work
you're
for
smarter
me.
Than,
someone
more
else
than.
more conscious than I just couldn't deal with that, and that was part of me leaving. But it wasn't a selfish thing for me to leave. It was selfless, because I took all those opportunities away from me, my whole free ride, tuition, all this. I had all these job opportunities that I was earning a great amount, that I had the opportunity to earn a great amount in, but I decided that this is my journey instead, because this is what's in my heart. That's not in my heart, so no one can tell me like, oh, you're so young, you like. I lead by example. This is me. Like, I'm leading by example. Like, I'm young and smart and beautiful, and I'm still making nature look good. Like, what you mean?
Say that thing.
Like, what?
That's real.
But I want to ask you though. Like, I want you to talk
real.
about. Yeah, facts. Factory. That's an organic vegan farmer factory, my dude. Talk about your first time ever sleeping in nature. Because I know you started off in Denmark Park in New York, so in Babylon, Dykmark. So Dykeman. So tell me about that. Like, I want you to
Dykeman
tell us
Park.
like sleeping in nature in Dykmark, and then you moved to with the Ethereans with carbonation. So tell me about that sleeping arrangement, and then now in the jungle as we are in this tent. So tell me like the difference. Talk to me about sleeping in nature.
Well, as you can see, like, nature is very peaceful. Nature is like a big mirror, you know. Nature is all that there is. So to sleep in nature is just to sleep. I look at it like. Now, to sleep on a mattress, maybe that we could go deep about that. How that's completely disconnecting you from what is. How that is like a sponge you're sleeping on, and is completely consuming all of your moisture, which is why you wake up with back pains.
Tired. You don't wake up recharged because you're not being recharged. If you sleep on the electromagnetic field, your body is being recharged. Your whole your cells. But sleeping on a mattress is disconnecting you, so you don't feel fully rested. That's why people be staying in bed all day during the weekend, because that shit they
don't even get proper rest on the bed.
You don't on a bed.
You feel more tired when resting on the bed. And when you sleep in nature, that is the best sleep you've ever gotten, because you immediately become in tune with the circadian rhythm of the earth, which is like when it gets dark, most animals power down and go to sleep, and they wake up with the sun. The sun is an electromagnetic pulse as well, which wakes you up. It's like a natural alarm clock. Like, you wake up with the heat of the sun, and your body begins to become in tune with the circadian rhythm of the earth. So when I was first sleeping in nature, obviously I was in tune with the circadian rhythm. I would power down, I would set up my tent and stuff like that. I definitely slept in Dykeman Park at times. I would set up my tent there, but I had to be very careful, because that is a public park in the middle of New York City, and they close at like 9 o'clock. So I would have to go in there before closing time, set up in the cut in the woods, and make sure. And my tent was bright orange and green, so it was very colorful. You could see it from afar. So I had to be very careful with the NYPD and the park rangers and shit like that. But it felt like just sleeping in nature. The earth is the earth no matter where you at, and everything in nature is interconnected. So somebody can be in the tropics. Right now, we could connect to nature. We're on this earth, sleeping on nature, right? In nature. Someone could be in Babylon sleeping in nature. We're immediately connected to them, because everything in nature is one, right? So sleeping in nature, my experience was like, that was the best sleep I've ever gotten. And I woke up, I felt recharged, I felt re-energized, and I started to do some studying on cellular regeneration, and I began to understand the importance of being humble enough to sleep on the earth inside of a tent. And the reason we sleep in tents is because, you know, bugs, they can become a real pesky fucking problem, especially in the New York City area. You know what I mean? Because it could get dirty, you know what I'm saying? But it's like when you sleep on the earth, it is the most humblest thing you could do. You feel recharged when you wake up. You feel well rested. You feel like you feel vigor about waking up. You feel excited. You feel happy about life.
That reminds me of how I transitioned from. I had a bed frame, a wooden bed frame, which was like 3 feet high. It was a tall bed frame in my second story bedroom, in the Florida state of hell, United States.
Right.
And so I would sleep on the mattress, and I would wake up with back pains, and I would be fatigued, and I didn't feel good, right? So I found on YouTube about like these tatami futons, like these Asian futons that you would put on the ground.
Right.
And even though I was on the second story, I was still disconnected, but I thought that would be an effort.
Right.
So I took apart right. So I took apart the bed frame and removed it from my room and slept just on the mattress on the ground. But then eventually when the order came through, because I had ordered a futon mattress like on the ground, so I slept on that for like 3 months. I got rid of the mattress. I slept on that mattress, and the first week, like, I would still have back pains, but even with the back pain, I woke up like more refreshed though,
right?
Because I slept on the wooden floor that I had.
Exactly.
You know, and then so I was there like for 3 months, and then but when I was in Babylon, I never had slept in a tent outside yet. I had not slept in a tent until I got to the Ethereum tribe, and that's why I still carry this on today, still
right.
sleeping in a tent,
right.
where we are now, but that was my first experience sleeping in a tent, was in like with the Ethereans when we was there. So
right. And how was that rest? How did you feel you slept?
Wow, like the first time I woke up, like I didn't want to get out of the tent because I was so like I wanted more. I felt so recharged. I wanted like
revitalized.
I felt revitalized, and then the most amazing feeling every morning walking out that tent is you wake up, you unzip it, and you step onto the ground, but then you realize you slept on that ground.
Exactly.
With only a little bit of separation because you use blankets.
Right, but that's not enough to
insulate you. It's still enough to recharge you.
Of
you know, of course you still gotta.
Like the bottom of our feet and hands
you still gotta
are
sleep comfortably. You can't deny yourself those pleasures.
Of course.
Right. So I would open the tent in the rising, and as soon as I step out and my feet are connected to the grass, and it's wet, like, and the sun,
like
and it
rain.
smells like. Nothing being
like nature.
Just nature.
No trucks.
Nothing. No gas. None of that pollution. And so I stand outside of the tent with the sun hitting me the first in the rising.
Right.
Right after laying down on the ground in the tent, like. That's so revitalizing. After that, I never wanted to sleep on a mattress again. Like, I can't sleep on them for what? Like,
it's funny you say that because it's like,
wow.
In New York City, sleeping out in nature, it was like smack dab in the middle of a fucking city, sleeping in nature. However, you still connected to the earth. But then you begin to realize that the earth is sad there, you know what I mean? Because we don't belong that far into the northern hemisphere anyway. So it is thriving for maybe 4 months out the year, but you know, the earth is not, she's not happy in that part of the earth because she's being abused. You know what I mean? Humanity thinks they're destroying the planet. No. Y'all polluting the planet, but y'all destroying humanity. The planet is going to always replenish and revitalize itself. Like cellular regeneration is very symbolic, as above, so below. The planet regenerates itself as well, but sleeping in nature in the jungle was completely different because, like you said, I didn't hear any traffic noise. I didn't hear people. There weren't no kids playing in the morning as soon as I got up. It was just a whole different experience. And
all you heard was crickets and chickens and hens and monkeys.
If you can hear this, no matter where you at, connect back to nature, and you will get that experience, and it will humble you, and you will have a different respect and a different adoration and love for nature.
Factory, because when you hear the sound of the crickets and things like that, and the monkeys at night, because we be hearing them howl, all of those sounds, like it tunes you back into the frequency of the earth instead of hearing trucks and alarms, because that's not natural.
Exactly. So it reprograms you to to the frequency of the universe. Because
Yes,
if it
back
wasn't
to a natural state. Like,
exactly, if it wasn't here when the universe was created, then that means it doesn't belong here. There weren't no 18-wheeler trucks and cars and motorcycles. None of this existed when the
them
universe.
alarm clocks.
Exactly, none of that existed when the universe took form. Now, natural sounds in nature, what they do is they reprogram you and they tune you back into the frequency of what you are, which is God. So if you're God, you don't belong hearing, smelling smog and hearing traffic and none of that. If you're God, you belong in the garden, living abundantly. So this is why connecting back to nature is imperative, because no matter where you at, you will get that. Even if it's just at a minute level, you will still be able to tap into that and understand the importance of it and why this transition is imperative for you to get out of Babylon, you know?
Some people may not see the significance of these little things, these little details, because they seem minute. But when you actually apply it to your life, you see the difference. You see it. You feelize it. It's one thing to understand it, you know, and to agree with us. Right. But if you actually apply this, that you will feelize it, because it is innately in you anyway, for you to sleep on the ground anyway, you know. But this is nothing to be. We're not talking about being extreme. It doesn't mean lay on the grass and sleep there at night. No. Get you a tent. Get you blankets, pillows is fine. You know what I mean? No one's talking about sleeping on the bare like grass. If you want to do that, that's lit. Like you the real deal for that. But you know,
I get what you're saying. And it's like you cannot interpret what is meant to be experienced. You cannot intellectualize what is meant to be experienced, because we can tell you to sleep on a tent and it's the best sleep you're ever going to get, but until you do it, it's like indescribable. You would never understand
indescribable.
Until you do it.
That's why I'm trying to tell you, like, you sleep on the ground, you feel so recharged in that tent. You wake up and I unzip it and I step out and I it's indescribable. It's more than just recharged. I feel like altered on a whole spiritual level. I feel like I leveled up. Like every time I slept on the ground, and now that when I continue to do that, I just feel like my cells are going back, my genes are like recalibrating, you know, back to their original state. Especially since I'm between the tropics of Cancer and the tropics of Capricorn, you know, closer to the sun, closer to what I am. Like, it all adds up. Like sleeping on the ground, eating plant-based, you know, being closer to the sun, all of that, it just brings me back, not just physically and mentally, but spiritually and metaphysically, like down to every cell. Like, it's reminding my cells on a cellular level of what I really am. But I just want to ask you about like the bug situation here now, because people see nature at a surface level and they think bugs and animals. So tell me what you think from Dykeman Park to now, or to like nature. Tell me about the bugs.
I feel like when I was in New York City, right, I was in Dykeman Park, I would pull over on highways and just duck off on the side of the highway, pull over, hide the whip like behind some bushes and just camp out. But what I can tell you is I would always wake up with a whole bunch of spiders and bees and butterflies and roaches, and I would even see rats, because for the most part, most of the places I camped out in were like actual public parks. And you know, people is filthy, and there's a lot of garbage cans in these parks. So you know the rats frequent these garbage cans for meals, for food. So you would see rats and shit like that. You would see, like, if you in your tent, you're on your phone or on your laptop, or you have a lamp on, you will see their shadows running across, and it's because it's filthy in that area. And let me just get this out and let y'all know, like, a lot of people have a lot of problem with insects and bugs and rodents and shit like that.
It's not that the rats are dirty, the environment is dirty.
Exactly. That's why they exist there, because they can thrive there. But
because they match the frequency of filth. That's why. So it's not the rats are filthy. Y'all live in a filthy place. That's why the rats there.
Exactly. They're on a low frequency they're on a low vibrational frequency. So it's like, even just for an example, if you put a potato chip in the middle of your room in the tropics, you will see the ants. No matter where they are, they will eventually migrate toward that potato chip, and they will all demolish that joint or carry it up out of there, because they're only here to clean the planet. So if you stop being filthy, you would stop seeing these rodents. And that's not to say go to New York City and sleep in the middle of the park and be clean. No, it means New York City is a very dirty place. It is an overpopulated city. Humans do not even belong that far into the northern hemisphere on a cellular scientific level. On a metaphysical level, we do not belong up there.
You cannot thrive at your highest.
We didn't migrate there, and there were indigenous folks who used the buffalo to survive. I'm not talking about surviving. I'm talking about properly thriving in our natural environment. So the bug situation here in the tropics, you'd be surprised. It's like the tropics is very clean, and the earth is a very clean place. Like, you think nature is dirty, it's because we have it misconstrued. Dirt is clean. Clean is dirty. When you wash off your smell on a consistent daily basis, you're filthy because you're hiding what you're putting into you, and you're just trying to sweep it under the rug, but eventually it's going to pile up under there.
And nothing in nature does that. Nothing in nature scrubs itself off. They're scrubbing off as people on a daily basis, more than 2 or 3 times a day, showering with these scented, all these body, like we're stripping ourselves of the very essence of what we are.
Melanin,
right.
That's
and we're
crazy.
weakening our immune system. We don't understand that. Like, we don't take that into consideration when we're doing these things. These are rituals, these habits, you know, of showering.
You don't need to shower. I haven't showered in years now. Don't get me wrong. I don't want y'all to get it twisted like a mango mystic.
We ain't mingy.
Right.
But
I go to the beach. I go to the river. I shower in the rain. I might take a bird bath if it's rain season and I can't really go to the beach or to the water. I might shower in the rain, or
but
I might
that's
go
why
inside.
You clean significant areas. You don't. Right. We don't scrub our arms off. Like, that has a protective layer over it that we must protect. The sebum of our skin. It produces these oils that protects us from the environment.
And
that's why it's important to not rub it off. So you wash your armpits, and of course you're gonna wash your backside and your front side, but you don't lather body soap all over your body. That weakens your system, and even your thought process isn't clear when you do that. You're weakening. You're more susceptible to being sick because of that.
It weakens your immunity, so you can step in a dirty place and you'll immediately get sick because you're not in tune with the earth. Remember when we was kids, like, we used to be filthy. We would be outside. You would have to beg us to take a shower. Our clothes looked dingy from one day of being outside because we would be all in the dirt, climbing on everything and touching everything, and
kids don't want to shower every day.
Innately, it's in their genetic programming to not want to shower because they understand that they're taking a piece of themselves off every time they do that. Just like when you take a kid to the barber shop, he don't want to cut his hair. Some kids even cry. That's why you got to give them a lollipop to shut their ass up so you can cut their hair, because they don't want to be disconnected from the all. So I would say that the tropics is a very clean place. You see butterflies, you see bees pollinating plants, and don't get it twisted. Like, there are a lot of ants in nature, but that's because ants are here to clean the planet. Like, some animals eat each other and leave the carcasses out. The ants will come, sweep that, clean that right up. You might eat a piece of fruit and throw the skin of the fruit on the dirt or something, and the ants are coming, pick that right up, clean it right up. And also, when you drop your pot, this is the most amazing thing ever. You have to experience this. When you drop your pot in nature, you will see the ants quickly come, and the bees quickly come, and the worms sometimes, all of these insects and animals. Like, that's how you know it's not waste. It is part of the ecosystem. You are not this human being that's named the social security number. Absolutely not. You are just another organism on this earth plane that is a greater organism than what you are. You are just a cell. You are just a cell on that organism. So when you drop your pot in nature, you will see all of these other organisms break that down into what it actually is, which is soil. Everything that you put on the dirt eventually turns into the dirt. It turns into the earth. So when you see your pot turn into soil, and if you eat the seeds of your fruit, you eventually will see seeds growing into plants out of your pot, out of your soil. That is the most humbling experience you could have. So nature is not as dirty as you think. Nature is full of bugs and stuff like that, but they all prey and feed on each other, and they keep harmony and balance and equilibrium as a part of the ecosystem.
Harmony,
but it is not
balance,
filthy.
And equilibrium.
Yeah, it's
that's
not
how you
filthy
know
though.
That the earth will always replenish itself. No one will ever like kill the earth. All that apocalypse bullshit is only the humanity being killed or being destroyed. You can't kill the earth. We are not significant. Our tiny little we're tiny as hell. We think we're like our whole lives, like at the end of the world is ending because we're in a situation in our life that's so detrimental to us, but we don't realize that we're so puny.
Exactly, like when you on a plane or some shit. When you migrate to the tropics, just look down when you're on that plane. Look at all the cancer that the planet has been riddled
Look at all
with,
those
right?
streets,
And
all
look
those
at
cars
humanity.
going nowhere.
We're so insignificant. We're like little ants on this Earth organism.
Yeah,
like,
so that's how you know we can't destroy the planet. We can
Nah.
only destroy ourselves. That's all we're
it.
doing. But because the planet will always replenish itself. Like if
everything in nature is thriving.
Always. And it always will.
That's why we must get back to nature, Reflejo. We must get back to nature. This is the answer to all of our debilitations,
Let's
all of our sicknesses.
protect it and respect it.
Right.
By protecting and respecting the planet, we're protecting ourselves, we're replenishing ourselves, we're respecting ourselves.
Right.
But when we throw that little piece of gum on the ground, that's so much bigger than when we think, because in a whole nother realm, that's you doing something so much worse.
Right.
Like, and every little thing you do has a karmic reaction to it, so you must not do these little things. Don't litter. Like, start to take these habits on, like, and let go of those old habits of, like, spitting on the, I don't care, spitting your gum on the ground, this throwing wrappers on the floor or napkins, like, just because it's little you think it's not nothing. Like,
right.
that's showing what you think about yourself, how you care about yourself. Like, right. You just don't care. Like, it's whatever.
That's crazy.
Like,
so yeah, don't be afraid of no bugs, man. There's bugs where you at, because it's filthy where you at.
They don't even do shit to us.
Yeah, they just look at you. They scared of you. The bugs don't want to be around humans, because humans are some filthy motherfuckers.
Right, because I seen a spider in the tent yesterday, right?
Right.
Like, you took it out, but if we had left that spider in the tent, it would have not done nothing to us anyway. It does not bite you or nothing. It just stays in its corner, right? The ants do that too. They don't even be honest. They be in their little corner eating the chip or whatever. Like,
they're not worried about us.
They're not worried about us. We make it such a big deal. Like, oh my God, it's a lizard. You feel me? But the lizard don't even see you. Like,
it ain't even worried about you. It's trying to avoid you, if anything.
Word. It's trying to eat the bugs from where you at. Like, what do you mean? But I had something else to ask you. I want to know, like, if you ever felt like giving up, and when or how or why you felt like giving up, because I know you've been on this journey for a while, for some time now, and you keep going. You just don't stop. Like, so I want to know if you ever felt like giving up, and when or why.
I mean, right now we giving it up. We giving it up to the reflejos. You know what I'm saying?
Because that's who we doing this for anyway. When you do this, your life doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to everyone else, and that's what we vow.
That's power. That was peace. But you know what it is? It's kind of like this. I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I was in Costa Rica, I felt alone at one point. Like, I didn't realize we were packed animals and we needed a family. You see what I'm saying? And I mean a family of like-minded individuals, people who are on your frequency of thought. Not just anybody, not just any old body, so you don't go at this alone. No, I mean people who think like you, people who see the world in the same way that you do, who want to study divine information and knowledge of self based in objective facts. People who want to become supreme beings and God bodies that want to eat from the earth and become the universe. So, you know, I felt alone at times and I got discouraged. I might have got some paperwork from Babylon, ended up dragging me back to Babylon. But I needed that because it humbled me. And it also made me re-emphasize and realize, like, how serious this is and how tomorrow isn't promised. So you must do the right thing even when no one is looking, which is integrity. And you must do the right thing every single day, day after day.
Because you don't know when your last day in this lifetime will be. Right. You must always do the right thing, because either way you're going to get a karmic reaction for it. So you must do the right thing.
Facts. So when you transition, you match the frequency of love, of doing the right thing. So that is exactly what will permeate into your next reality, your next existence. We are actually creating our next reality as we speak. So, you know, to say that I ever felt like quitting, not necessarily, but I have been discouraged. I had fear, I had doubts, but I think that's normal. And, you know, people like yourself, someone like you helps me stay focused and grounded because of the way you express yourself and the way you ask me questions and the way your mind works. Like, I love the way your mind processes information and just looks at something from a whole different perspective. And I'm like, yo, I never even thought about it like that. You're like, yo, it'll show you deep, you know what I'm saying? So things like that is what keeps me going. And also understanding that, yo, this is what the whole world must come to anyway. Like, yo, most people in Babylon, they're not happy working these 9-to-5 jobs, being in these careers, being stuck in school. They're not happy doing that, but they just don't see any other alternative. And like you said, we making nature look cool and stuff like that, but most people haven't vibrated to this frequency of thought yet because they haven't matched it. And that is how the universe works, through
So
energy, vibration, and frequency. So they can only project in their reality
from a surface level.
what's in their mind. Once they reach a certain level of consciousness in their reality, they'll be able to find this. And this is the work we're doing here now. We're putting this out there for them. We're creating this platform. We're creating this residual information for them, so when they do tap into it, it'll be regularly available for them, and it'll just be there, and they can reach it, and they can go back and do their research and study and get this information and fully immerse themselves in it and become one with it. This is why I do this. So I never felt like giving up, but I did feel at times when I was feeling doubt and fear, like there were times where I didn't know where things were going to come from or how, but the universe always magically provides, because I live in the information. I am the information. I'm living the information, so I know it's true. The truth
is in you.
Although it may be scary at times, like you have to take a step when there's no step and just know that it will appear and you won't fall.
Faith.
You have to have faith. Like Peter in the Bible, you can't focus on the waves of the ocean. You got to keep your eyes on the prize and keep going. Tunnel vision. You got to pick up your ankh and walk. So sometimes I felt like, yo, this shit ain't easy, and this road is very narrow and it's not for everyone. But that is also the same thing that propels me into and allows me to keep going. Like some people may hit me on the DM or hit me with a comment and be like, yo, I'm glad I found your channel. I like the way you express yourself. That's all I need, because if I could help one person, I feel like my life is meaningful because I was helped. And he who has information must give information. You know what I'm saying? And you have to give more than you take. So I require a lot from the universe.
Yeah.
So I have to consistently give and give and give and give. And that's what
knowledge
we're doing
is
here and
nothing
now.
without being shared. Knowledge is nothing, because for you to keep it in your mind doesn't help anybody else, you know?
Exactly. And you have to apply it as well, which is what we're here doing now, constantly applying this information. And we see that it works. You know what I'm saying? We're living it. So most people, they've only been able to intellectualize it, what is to be experienced.
Well,
so
don't only take it from us, Reflections. Remember, Reflejos, you guys have to do your own research, you know?
Right.
Do your own research. Look this up. Like, this is... we're speaking based off of actual facts, like actual natural law based on the mathematical system that this is all based upon. Like, this isn't just our, like, opinion. This is straight facts. Like, this is what the world must come to anyway. You're just hearing it from us. So it is your time to apply it today.
Exactly. It's never too late to change. You know what I'm saying? So you need to start as we speak. And the reason you're listening to this, the reason that you vibrated towards this, is because it's already in you, and you've begun to match this frequency. Now it is time for you to lace up your Timberland boots. You know what I'm saying? It's time for you to take action and walk out on this faith that you already know. Do not worry about what you don't have. Go to my Instagram. I'll put a post up for you guys. Do not worry. Like that Matthew verse in the Bible, Matthew 6, verse 24 through 35. It's like through 36. It's like, yo, you cannot worry about what you don't have. You have to focus on what you do have and be grateful for that and do the right thing every single day.
And work with that, and more will be added on to you. Work with what you got, and more will be given to you. The universe will see your intent and your will and your work, and it'll give you more for that. You know, don't expect to have more things. Like, it'll come to you as you work through what you do have. And you know,
it's not your will, it's the universe's will. So be attached to nothing from an unhealthy perspective and prepare for it all. Don't plan, because when things don't go your way,
it leads to disappointment, right?
Yeah, so just prepare. Say, yo, I'm ready to live in nature. I got my tent, I got my passport, I got my water filter, I got my flashlight. I'm ready to go at this. You know what I mean?
Well, what is your biggest challenge, Jefe? Like, what do you think your biggest conflict challenge, or maybe that you've had or have honestly, now? What do you think it is?
Since studying my astrological energies, right? Since getting in tune with what it is that nature truly is, which is the patterns of our mind. Nature's not the bees, the trees, the birds, and all that. That's the expression of nature. That is the feminine aspect of nature. But there are, just like everything in this world, like one of the 7 Hermetic principles, the principle of polarity, you know, when I realized that nature is the patterns of my mind, I started to realize one of my biggest challenges is my debilitations. Like, I'm the kind of person that is so loving and giving that I might lose sight of myself in certain situations where I might overgive to someone because I care so much. I care for people more than they care about themselves. I care so much about people that I do things for people and I lose sight of myself. It's like I give, and then I end up with nothing for me. So not at this moment, but ever since I could remember, that has always been a challenge of mine. So even now to this day, all I want to do is help people, but I have to help myself before I help people, because don't get it twisted, right? A lot of people hit us up like, yo, they want to vibrate toward us, and don't get me wrong, like I'm more than open to welcome anyone to come join us. You understand what I'm saying? But I have to look out for myself first. You know, and my significant other as well. Like, this is not a game. This is my life that I dedicated all of my energies to. So I have to keep those challenges, those debilitations in my chart in mind when dealing with these people, and not just allowing any old body into my life because they feel like they want to run away from themselves, or they feel like Babylon is boring, this shit is whack, I got to get up out of here, I see you doing it, yo, I'm going to go to you. It's not that easy, you know. And when you vibrate a whole person into your reality, what happens is energy shifts. And things begin to change, because now you are dealing with a completely different parallel universe. We are the universe in human form. So when you start dealing with another aspect of this universe, things will begin to happen. So,
and that's because reality plays upon like energy, frequency, and vibration.
Absolutely. So it's like, you know, I just know that some of my challenges is I'm overgiving. I love so much. I love so hard. I love
very
so
loyal
big.
That it may be
I'm
detrimental at some times.
I'm loyal to a fault. That's right. Because like even when I was in my lower self in Babylon, like growing up in the street and shit like that, like my mans they would be dead wrong. They would do something that they completely dead wrong about. But I'm so loyal, I'll defend them and I'll stick up for them. Like, yeah, nigga, you dead wrong. We're gonna talk about this later, but I'm here to defend you in this moment now, because that's what a fucking friend does. And a lot of people don't even know what being a friend is. You have to be a friend to them so they can learn what being a friend is. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like my challenge is just putting myself first. It's always been difficult for me because I am an angelic being. I am what I feel is a humanitarian. I just want to help humanity. But sometimes you get lost in trying to help humanity, that you put yourself last. And that's never a good thing. And I get passionate when I talk about this because it's true. I can look back at my past life and see how many times I put other people before me and where that got me. You know what I'm saying? Or when someone gives you their ass to kiss, there's only so much you can do. You know, you have to accept that this person does, not that they don't care about you, but that they don't value you the way you value yourself, or the way you even value them. So this is why we say I love myself, Reflejo, because you must love yourself first. And then everything in your reality will begin to show you how much you love yourself or how much you don't. You know what I'm saying? So that is my greatest challenge, just putting myself first. I have other challenges as well, but I'm working through them. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm becoming better every single day.
I understand.
But that is my greatest challenge.
I understand. Well, with that being said, what helps you stay on track?
God damn. This is deep, though. You know what? What helps me stay on track is just like that perspective I gave you. That I could always open my phone, or I could always go online. I could always make a phone call. I could always revert back to who I was in my lower self. And that keeps me very humble, because I see that I've came a long way. I used to be completely Babyloned out, for lack of a better term. Like, I was completely Babyloned out.
How so?
Like right now we burning sage, right? We burning the incense. I used to burn haze. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care if I was around the infant bars. But no, seriously, it's like back then I didn't care about life. In terms of I didn't care about a future. I just cared about feeling good, and I wanted to be happy, so I loved to see other people happy. And that was it. Like, I wasn't concerned about the future. I wasn't merely concerned about humanity. Back then, what keeps me focused now is who I was back then. And when I say back then, I mean growing up in the 90s. I mean growing up in this world before the internet world. And growing up in the streets around shiesty individuals, and how we would rob and steal, and how there was no honor amongst thieves. We would rob and steal from people, and then rob and steal from each other. It was like we didn't even have honor within ourselves. And I knew that I was better than that, because it felt wrong. It felt like I needed more, like I wanted to do better. I was always that dude that would always look up at the stars and be like, yo, son, yo, it gotta be something better than this. Like, yo, I can't wait to get the fuck out the hood.
I always had that feeling that something was better. So I was gonna ask you, what made you realize that you had to leave Babylon? But with me, there's something that I always felt in me. Like, for example, when I was in high school, I was going to them classes every single day. I was a straight A student. I was never no absent, nothing. I was never absent. Like, I was always on top of my shit. I was always doing my work, getting my A's, right? But the thing is, like, even though I was doing so well in school and I had my friends, I had my fun, like, and I kept that balance between having that fun in high school where everyone thinks it should be, with me still doing well in school, thinking I was like succeeding through that. But I still realized that that wasn't really gonna get me anywhere, because even when you graduate college, that piece of paper, that diploma ain't gonna promise you a job. So me getting a high school diploma isn't promising me anything either, but entrance to college. Like, it doesn't really do much for you as it is projected. So while I was taking those classes, and even though I may seem from a Babylonian perspective that I'm young and things like that, it's deeper than that. But
age is consciousness.
So I may be young in Babylon terms, but consciously I have lots of wisdom. I carry so much intuition with me because of the energies that have been given to me at birth through my past realities and things like that. My astrological programming. So I've just been set. I've been fixed to be rebellious.
Sign.
And I'm a water sign.
So you hold, like, water holds information. Water holds DNA. So that's a lot of emotion, a lot of feeling. So
and I have a lot of Pisces energy in my chart.
So you felt like it just felt wrong, huh?
And I couldn't explain it. So to some people, to like the people I would explain it to, because when I was in Babylon and I felt that I was on a higher consciousness than the associates, the friends that I had. Because the friends that I had, like, they would still do the simple surface shit, like even straightening their hair and putting their makeup on. I saw it as so much deeper than that. I'm like, they're being like puppets. Like, I thought of it that way, but I would sound crazy saying that.
Okay.
You know? But I'm trying to say but the only reason that I feel like as a senior in high school, I guess what kept me in common with those people was like I was a pothead. Like, I was smoking weed, but I was still in a higher consciousness than the people I was surrounding myself with. But I understand that I did this to myself. I'm not pointing a finger at them, but I do feel that I always felt like they was not on the same page as me, though, because even when we would like smoke together or whatever we would do, they would have these like bland, mundane, like mentally underdeveloped conversations. And I would always level it up to some spiritual level, something like that, and they just thought it was like mystical and a little too dramatic for them. When really what they're talking about is who's sleeping with who from high school and stuff, you know? But I would smoke with them and stuff because we would match, like, or we would get smoked out from him, or I'll get smoked out by them. So that's just what it was. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I was smoking pot, but I was heavy on it. But that's what kept us close. That's what kept us calling each other like, yo, you about to match with me or what?
That's the only thing y'all had in common.
That's what we had in common, and the fact that we went to the same middle school. Because when I was in middle school, I was definitely on my lower self shit. I was on the woke shit, but I knew that I was different. Like, I felt that I was like, I still felt that I was innately, it was in me, but that there was something different about me than from the people I was around. But that's not from a biased perspective, because I'm me and I think I'm different. It was bigger than that. Like, people would tell me as well, like that I would walk around with this look on my face, like I was determined, like I had somewhere to go and stuff. And other people would see it as I'm a mean girl, like I have a mean face because I would walk around. They thought I walked around grumpy.
Don't look at me.
It's not that I walked around grumpy. I just had this determined look on my face naturally, like it just placed itself there because that's just my energy. Like it's just
the severity of your consciousness. You know, you understand the severity of it. It's like there's a saying that says, "Stress will take a young nigga and give him an old face." Because a lot of young boys are stressed, but also some of them are filled with wisdom. So they're like OGs and they're young as fuck. You know,
and that's how I felt. I felt that I had this wisdom over the people in my era, my age, my generation, my upbringing that they didn't have or they couldn't see through it because they were always they stayed at the surface and their energies did not allow them to dig deeper. And even if they did, they weren't able to stay there like I am. You know, and that's why I'm doing this for and with everyone, because I'm able to stay on this consciousness rather than fall back to sleep. Because I did have a friend in Babylon that we were like smoking pot and everything, but she woke up. Like, I showed her astrological energies on GrupoVenus.com for free, which y'all should do, because y'all should read your energies. But with her, like, when she was reading them, she resonated with them so much that she started asking all these questions. And that's when you start to wake up, when you ask why for everything, because everything leads back to why.
And all paths lead back to the source.
All back to the source. So she started to wake up, and she was saying all of this and that, and then the next day she was back on her Kodak, like, smoking blunts garbage. So it didn't stay with her like it does with me. So the fact that you was
different completely made you really feel like you had to transition out? Like, you didn't fit in there nowhere. Wherever you looked, you just didn't fit
in. And it looked like I did from a surface level, because I may have looked like them. I may have still done the little things, like wore the ripped jeans and the crop tops with the makeup, but mentally I wasn't with that.
Right.
Like, I looked at that from the outside, but I was above it though. I was above tune from that, from their tune, from their frequency. I was above it, even though I may have looked, you know, like them. My mouth always spoke differently. It was very ironic, you know.
Heard you.
But that's just what showed me that was a realization. I came to through my high school experience. I came through the realization that I had to leave Babylon because of the experiences I was having with these individuals, with my associates. And the same thing at home. Like, no one understood me. No one understood the fact that we had to go back to nature, and the fact that my roots are Dominican. Like, I spoke to my Babylon family about how we should go back to it. But they look at America as the land of opportunity, but it's not. It's all a trick. It's all a system that keeps you at a cycle that doesn't let you elevate and grow. It is not conducive to. You're just another battery to that system. Ooh. And I always wanted to be a mother ever since my first memory ever in preschool. Me playing with the baby dolls. That's my first memory ever. Like, out of all the games to play, I was 3 years old. I would always go to the strollers with the baby dolls, right? Because I always innately knew. I always wanted to be a mother, even though I saw that not till happening. Like, I used to think, like, oh, I don't want to be a mom till I don't want to get pregnant till I'm 30. Like, I would always tell myself that, but I was so ready to, like, be a mom though. I always wanted to have children. I innately knew that was something in me that always needed, that always was gonna happen, and I was more than eager and ready to prepare for that. But to find the right partner to do that with, but through what I was trying to say that was because I'm trying to say, like, I have to come into my femininity and lower my masculine energy in order to be the virtuous woman that I am becoming, to lead by example as a virtuous woman. Because me being as young as I may seem now, that's the perfect start. That is the perfect start to me to shift away from the system instead of locking myself there. It is the perfect time in my reality to shift away from that, which is what I've been doing, and I'm so proud of myself.
I'm so proud of myself.
So proud of myself, because I'm continuing to be on this consciousness, and I'm not gonna let this go. Because when I was in high school, I'm like, I always knew I wanted to be a mother, right? But I was like, wow, like, I would sit in class and think, wow, this is so meaningless. They're teaching us pure, like, emptiness. Like, the knowledge they're giving us is empty carbs, like empty calories, I mean. Like, empty, you know?
Right.
So, and I would never want that for my children. There's no substance in this education. My children will never have to go through this. And the only way to do that is to take them back to, is to take myself back, my vessel, my body, my physical body that has given to me for this reality, in this reality, to physically move to where I belong, so that when I'm ready to have children, all they know is the I am consciousness. All they know is this level of this thought frequency. They'll never have to go to school to learn those mundane things, because I don't think school educates you. I think they've programmed school to de-educate you, to dumb yourself down, to misinform everyone through history, the math. They misinform these children and feed them the school lunches that makes them mentally
dumbed down
with the food and the the people around them in school keep them dumb. Like, no one makes you smart in school. Like, when you're in high school, everyone there keeps you dumb. You're not surrounded by intellectual individuals when you're in high school. Everyone's like programmed to be like regular, to try to fit in, when that stuff doesn't matter. So you wasted your life in high school when you were supposed to be building yourself up, but they capture you and trap you there. It's a whole trap. Like, and my children will never have to go through that. They're gonna learn from straight nature. Like, they won't be born in a hospital to begin with. Like, I don't agree with that system. So the only thing I can do is not to only rebel, but to completely detach myself and to lead by example to other people, other immunity cells, to reach out to them who are able to apply this knowledge. You know, some people are locked into their DNA and they're locked into this program in their mind that they're not able to come out of. So they stick with the system because they think there's benefits, because it's so
attractive.
It's so attractive to stay there.
Ignorant.
It's so it's easy to be ignorant. It's the laziest thing to do. It's so easy to stay there. Oh, because we have insurance here. That's bull. Like, come on. I can't even express that enough. My children will never have to see that. They will learn about it, but they won't have to they won't have to be there. They won't have to be peer pressured into these silly things like I was, because I was peer pressured into things like you know, like smoking marijuana and having sex and things like that. I was pressured into those things, but I did that for myself through those people. But my children will never have to, you know, because they will be natural humans. Like, I want to have those children as examples of what humans should really be. And even though people see that as living like animals, but maybe that's what we need, though.
Maybe you see we're not different than animals.
Maybe we're not different than animals. We think we're so above animals.
Right. That's an illusion. Because
we have this separation from them that we believe, because we have language and they don't. They do have language, but the fact that we can have words and can manipulate those situations and things like that, we think we're above. You know, but we're not. We're dumber. We're deaf. We're blind. And these animals are not dumb, deaf, and blind. Only humanity is. Humans are the only sick things on this planet. Everything else is perfectly fine, because the earth will always continue to regenerate itself. But humans will always be the only sickness on this planet.
Facts. And animals are smarter than us, because if you let the gorilla out the Bronx Zoo, he's gonna vibrate towards his natural tropical environment, because he has an electromagnetic field in his heart, you know what I'm saying, that's going to allow him to vibrate right back to where he knows he belongs. So even if he can't get to the tropics, his ass going to go down to Florida, down to Cali. He going to go to a place where it's warm and he can properly thrive. You know what I mean? But what I think for me, what made it imperative to show me that, yo, you got to migrate out of here, this is not for you, was when I had the luxury, you understand what I'm saying, to wake up and fall asleep and wake up and fall asleep and bump my head and continue to make mistakes and get dragged through life and learn through this person and through that person and through this person and through that person and through this person and through that person. I had those luxuries to wake up and fall asleep. Like, the first time I got a glimpse of what this world was, in terms of how deceitful it was, how dumb, deaf, and blind the masses were, and how we were being controlled by the government, was when 9/11 happened. You know, a lot of people, you know, they can't really recall vividly 9/11, but it's significant for me because my Babylon dad, that's actually his birthday. So I remember that day like it was yesterday. But not to get into details about that day per se, but when 9/11 happened, I was just, there was a documentary called Fahrenheit 9/11. This is when I started looking crazy to people in my infant stages in terms of waking up. This is when I first started waking up, and I started telling people, yo, they trying to kill us. These buildings.
It was a secret tape, right?
Right, and it was like a federal offense if you get caught with this tape, because it was talking bad about the president. That was a federal offense.
But it was truth.
But it was just truth, and it was scientifically proven
that it was bombs that took the buildings down. That's why it clashed each floor upon each other. It wasn't no planes.
It was controlled demolition. So I would walk around talking about this, and most people, they figured planes hit the building, nigga. You saw it on the news, and I'm like, why we can't talk to somebody who actually saw planes? All we can see is people talk about it after the fact. It was presented to the masses on these news medias. When we come from America, which is like the land, the United States of America, which is like the land of the dumb, deaf, and blind. We own Hollywood. We own the biggest movie company. So I feel like that was just orchestrated, right? And the DVD, or it might have been the VHS tape at the time. Who knows? But what I'm trying to tell you is, this is when I first started walking around in public and telling people what I felt and what I knew and what I thought. And niggas try to put me in a straitjacket. Niggas start telling me, yo, what's wrong with you? You let yourself go. You seem a little depressed. But I had the luxury to fall right back to sleep and let all of that shit go and continue to wake up. And I went through my stages of conspiracy theories and studying documentaries and old master teachers like DeMarcus Mosiah Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and a plethora of information, so many different schools of thoughts and ideologies that I can't even name them here and now. But eventually, when I saw a movie called Forks Over Knives, I saw a movie called Cowspiracy, I saw a movie called, or documentaries called What the Hell, and right around this time, like, it was just this energy that was permeating in the household that I was a part of at the time, right? I was actually in a failing marriage, and this person came home, and they just had this energy about them, and it just consumed me in that moment. Like, I was about to have dinner, right? And this person reached out to me early in the day. I wasn't able to pick up the phone, but I just lost sight of that. So when they come in the house, I obviously supposed to greet them, you know, with a warm greeting, I guess. But I was busy, like, watching battle raps, and I was just halfway in my lower self, I'm not gonna lie. But this person just started chewing me out and just talking negatively, and I felt a presence, like, come out of them and come into me. But I alchemized that energy. I didn't allow myself to give them back that energy. I just packed a duffel bag, and left. And I just isolated myself. And as soon as I isolated myself, all this information starts coming to me and starts streaming through me. And I wasn't completely vegan yet at the time. I was like on my fish kick. Like, I would eat salads, smoothies, and I would have a piece of fish every now and then. But I already knew eating meat was innately wrong because the way my body felt when I consumed it. You know what I'm saying? I was very health conscious, which is what happens to a lot of people when they start working out. They start really getting health conscious and watching what they eat for the wrong reasons, of course. But that led me to the truth. So when I began to wake up, I did the same thing you went through. My roots is in Dominican Republic as well. And I never forgot my roots, even though I was ashamed of them at first because I've been through a lot of dark and vile and nasty shit coming up just to be purified for this I am consciousness, which is why I say I had the luxury to go to sleep and wake up. But a lot of the people from your generation, y'all don't have the luxury to fall asleep and wake up. You guys have to implement this knowledge here and now because it is available for you. And when I was coming up, it wasn't regularly available.
It's so ironic how we're the laziest, but we have the most information.
Y'all the smartest, but the dumbest. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy to me. And we the dumbest, but the smartest. Because we like, oh, no. I fear the wrath of God, nigga. I'm never going back to my lower self. No. And y'all like...
And that's a healthy fear. That's the only fear you should have.
Exactly, the fear of the laws. And not the Lord, but the laws of nature. But eventually, when I came across the I am consciousness, I realized that, oh shit, all we gotta do is go back to nature. That's a fact. Word. So I just start telling everyone in my immediate circle, like, yo, we just gotta go back to DR sleeping tents, and all we gotta do is become vegans, and we gonna be alright. And she's not sick. All she gotta do is ground herself and stop eating meat and pus and dairy, and we gonna be alright. And people start looking at me like I'm crazy, like I got 3 heads. Again,
yeah,
like I belong in this.
Attached to their reality, they're
right.
so attached to the little
to those
apartment
traditions
and things and their traditions that
right.
they grew up on. So it's hard for them
exactly.
to let go because the truth is not in them. They've been subjected to this reality, thinking it's the norm, that it's okay to fry them eggs when that's completely abnormal.
Right.
But they've been raised to think all that is normal
from a
and
cow,
regular.
Right, and like milk from a cow is for a cow. Milk from a human is for a human. I try to explain these little simple things to them, and they were just like, yo, you ungrateful. We came to this land of opportunity to provide you with opportunity that we didn't have. So once I saw that everyone was okay with being asleep and that I looked crazy to them, I just knew I had to get out, and I removed myself from them, and I did everything in my power to make this a reality. So here we are, here and now, and I couldn't be more proud of myself. Like, when I look at you, I see myself in female form looking back at me.
I'm so glad this thought form brought me to you, vibrated me to you.
Listen, I'm honored. The pleasure's all mine, and it's like the way your mind thinks, the way you move, the way you speak, the way you articulate yourself. It's like, oh my God, I'm so proud of myself because I feel like all of those things I've been through were for a divine purpose and reason. And here and now, it's like being with you in the flesh shows me that, like, yo, this is why you had to go through all of that to purify yourself to get to this point. So now I see that I'm not crazy. I remember people used to tell me, you'll never find anyone who agrees with your lifestyle.
You'll never find a female who doesn't eat meat. You crazy? Who doesn't comb her hair?
Exactly.
What about these freeform locks though, knuckle?
That's just real.
That's real. That's real.
You know, that was really well said. And you know, I'm like I said, I'm just proud of myself. So that's what really made me realize that I have to get out, because this truth wasn't for everyone and it wasn't in them. So I looked crazy to them. So I did it not only for my sake, but I did it for their sake. I was like, I just gotta go.
My Babylon family thought I needed a psychologist because I believed in nature and believed that we should go back to these habits that we used to, instead of these crazy rituals that they put us on, like birthdays. You don't even understand the depth of a demonic ritual that actually is. Exactly. And that's not just some conspiracy bull. Like, that's some real shit. Exactly. But so they thought I needed some help, but really they were just so attached to their reality that it was hard for them to let go of it and to realize that I was speaking the truth. But it's so hard to hear from a younger person, like, oh, nah, they just crazy. Nah,
it's convicting.
Ella está loca.
Exactly.
Déjala tranquila, no le hable. No, like, but listen, it's only truth. Like, you feel me? But I mean, what advice would you give someone that's ready to leave their state of hell to be in their natural state in the tropics? What would you tell them?
Wow, that's real. I mean, I'll do a whole download about that, but the first thing I would say is, isolate yourself, man, and stop trying to teach these people in your reality, because the truth is in you, man. It's not in them. You chosen by God, not them. You can only put the truth out, and whoever is meant to receive it will. Like, isolate yourself, get away from them. Use this internet as a tool. Use it as to serve for you to be a beacon of light. Use it as a tool to connect with people who think like you, with your soul family. Reach out to them, connect with them in real life. Get off this internet talking and building with people. Vibrate towards these people in your reality and begin to build together. We all fucked up just trying to figure it out, man. But you know the truth now. So you have to isolate yourself from this world, reprogram your subconscious mind, begin to study your natal chart.
Yeah, when you know the truth, you will be judged for not applying it, because ignorance is bliss. If you don't know, you don't get judged for it. But now that you know, you are... You have to.
You're held responsible.
You are held responsible to apply and share this information as an immunity cell of this earth body. You cannot continue to just listen to us because it's cool online and then go back to sleep after you log off, after you close your phone. You just go back to your eating potatoes, eating greasy potato chips and watching TV. Like, you can't be just smoke a blunt after you listen to this, or while you listen to this. You must actually apply this information. So please don't just close this and then continue on, because I noticed that some people will like my posts and comment and congratulate me, but then on their account, on their Instagram, they have like pictures of chicken with some vegetables on the side, but they're eating meat still. So they're not applying this. So I don't really need you to say thank you for your information. Like, you don't need to thank me. The universe is showing me that it's thankful, because I'm being repaid for my work, for my deeds. But I would really love to see people change their diet and their form of the way they use language. That's the real way to thank me, is by showing, not saying, not telling, but to show, because you have to pick up your and walk. It's bigger for you to, you must walk your talk. You must talk your walk. Like, you can't just thank me or talk about it. You have to actually apply this, actually realize this realization to coming into your higher self, and how important it is for everyone to do that as well. You know, it's not just cool online. Like, it's bigger than this. It's really serious. We struggle every day as well, or now and then as well. We do. This is not just peaches and creams. It's not just the birds and the trees and the bees. We have challenges every day, but that's just to show us, to really test us if we really bout this, and we are. And that's been shown to us every day, but we continue through all these struggles that we really are serious about this.
Fact.
You know?
Yeah, that's real. And it's like, at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do for you, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about these people who don't think like you, because you're only going to look crazy to them. You have to vibrate towards people that understand you. That is the way you thank us. You're not by yourself, though. You know what I'm saying? Don't feel alone. Hit us on the inbox. And we'll help you transition out. If you need us, we here for you. This is why we're constantly doing this. Don't be shy. Don't think we're high and mighty and holier than thou and we're on this high horse. Not at all. We from the bottom.
We come from where you come from.
We Dominican niggas. At the end of the day, ain't nobody better than you, Reflection. So just hit us up. let us know how it's going on your path and your journey and transitioning out. And have no fear, man. Fear can be good in a healthy place, but have no fear of the unknown. You must walk out on faith and know you're going to be all right. Just think about your past life. You were always okay as far back as you can remember. You're going to be all right, yo. We here for you, Reflection. Reach out to these people that you building with and get together with them in real life and begin to migrate out. That is the only way to heal ourselves, is to remove ourselves from this cancerous system.
And the best thing you have is the internet. You shouldn't just be watching, like, cinnamon challenges. Like, that's so useless, like on YouTube, or things like that, or the makeup videos. Like, we should be using the internet to connect with each other, to use it against the system. We should be using our money against the system to get out. Like, we should have our money and not to stay in the system as batteries and replace the money back. Put our resources together,
begin to transition out.
Right, so we have the internet to
build, not
connect
destroy.
With each other. Not just for pointless, hey, what are you doing type conversations. Like, I'm so tired of those, like, hey, what's up, what are you doing? Oh, I'm over here chilling with who, 2 hours later, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Like, what does that do? Like, that's just a cycle of nothing. It leads nowhere. That's just a waste of text and energy, when internet can actually be used to vibrate people on your frequency into your reality. That's powerful. So start to share your story, because your life doesn't belong to you, and you're on this level of your consciousness or this frequency. It doesn't belong to you anymore. It's for everybody else. So start to open your throat chakra and to heal yourself through your the traumas. Start to speak out about your traumas and things like that, and people will communicate with the internet, and people will vibrate to you and into your reality, because the universe is working for you, not to you or against you. It's for you. So if you start to speak out to people on the internet, something as simple as Instagram, like, you can post a 1-minute clip and people can actually vibrate towards you. It sets this energy field, this frequency that allows things to manifest into your reality through your thoughts and this frequency. Like, staying on this frequency isn't easy. It's a narrow path, and to stay on it is not easy, but you must have faith and show the universe that you're serious and you're not playing games. This is not just about living in nature. It's much deeper than that.
Facts. That was real. That was excellent build. Like, you really did that right there. You did that. But that's just real. Like,
we did that right there.
We here for y'all, Reflections. We here, man. Just reach out to us, you know what I'm saying? We're going to continue to make these podcasts. I like this energy when we do this, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like, it's almost like, it's not as structured as like a video on topic is, although we did speak of certain topics, which is like the information
but
we
live.
Good
flowing energy,
but
though,
I like
natural,
how it flows, you know what I'm saying?
I like it. I feel it.
Right, so, with that being said, paz reflejo.
Yeah, we're gonna take it down now. So, mañana.
I love myself.
Paz reflejo.
Ya tú sabes.